morning.
Okay. So what we have done with our project, as you well know, we started off working with different sort of mark making. I'm working with wax, creating resist, playing with watercolor pencil crayons, working with some charcoal, and creating a background for your landscape. Okay. From there, we tore it up, worked in some newspaper to create the background, and then we did the awesome ink splot drawings. Okay. So, as you can see in my one, I found my little owl with his long skinny legs. Okay, and I think you all did an amazing job at finding all your own creatures. So from there, we cut them out, we put them into your landscape, and then we extended the color that was originally in part of the background in other areas. So you can see over there. Okay. And I love this turtle. I think it's really beautiful. Okay, so what we're going to be doing today is a twofold process. So first we're going to be finishing this one. We're going to be working with ink. I've got the primary colors, red, yellow and blue, and I've got plain white on a little postcard palette, and then there's another little palette for people to mix on. So what happens when you add white to a strong pigment? It comes lighter. Yeah, okay, so you're going to get softer pastel colors. And so in that way, I'm not wanting you to obliterate the dark pencil crayon that you've got in your artworks. I'm wanting you just to soften it a little bit and play a bit with mark making and play a bit with some of the textures that you came across when you did your wax rubbings. So like this over here, that sort of shape you can copy and create a bit of a tile pattern across the newspaper top there. You can also work a little bit into your creatures if you're wanting to. Okay, so maybe I'm going to give you some black pens as well. So like this little koala bear can be extended. Because right now he's just kind of floating here. Okay. But the extension here has worked really nicely with the branch coming up there, the branch there. So some areas you might want to work lightly into your actual bird. I'm passing in my brush, please. Okay. Move these out the way. I know it's a huge amount of white paint, but it'll spread. So here's my little owl. So color mixing basics. You want yellow, you add some white, you can get a nice lighter yellow. Okay. What happens when what you add to yellow to make green? I know you know this, but I'm just checking. Okay. Add a bit more yellow. Okay, and you can see what's nice about adding the white to the pigment is that you can get these really nice soft, delicate colors. So if I'm wanting to start, I'm not wanting to paint over this whole thing like you're painting a house. Okay, that's my new favorite expression. You're not painting a house, you're painting delicate, tiny little brush marks. That's why I've given you my tiny brushes. Okay. And can you see here in our, it's almost got like this whirl of feathers from the accidental ink splot. So I want you to find those things and kind of work with it. So I'm not wanting you to paint over it entirely. You're going to be playing with it and extending it. And you can mix your color as you work. Okay. So you need to mix up a whole lot of green, a whole lot of orange, a whole lot of purple. Because obviously it'll dry quite quickly because you're only mixing thin layers of paint at a time. And what's quite nice about mixing your colors as you go is that you start getting a range of paint. So one thing you can't really get with working with ink and white, you can't get pure primary red, yellow and blue, which is something when it comes to painting I always like avoiding, because everyone with a slightly experienced eye can look at the painting and go, oh, primary red, yellow, blue, that's cheap. Not so great. Okay, so I'm wanting you to really mix and play with the colors. So maybe a little bit of red in there, and you start getting more of like a grey sort of tone. Because you're putting complementary colors together. So you've got, if you remember how to make brown, red, yellow, and blue put together. Okay, so here I had green plus red, which is essentially kind of like my primaries. So here you can work really quite delicately and quite gently in the creation of your creatures. You're wanting them to stand out a bit more. And then what's quite nice about working into your background area with some of the paint, paint will mix with the watercolor pencil crown and you'll pick up some of the tone underneath. Okay. So when you're painting into the background of your artworks, I'm wanting you to look at the shapes that you've created and the patterns and the textures that you've created. So here there's quite a lot of zigzaggy sort of line. So maybe you can mix up like a pinky or an orangey pink or something like that, and you're going to work with that line sort of texture to expand or extend that texture. So you can pick up some colors in your actual turtle shell, and you can soften these. If you think some of your outside colors or your landscape colors are too strong, you can soften them and push them down a little bit with your white, if you're wanting to put purely with white. But then it will pick up some of the color from the watercolor pencil crown, which is quite nice. Or you can mix up pigments with the white acrylic paint and work into your surface. So you can work in all areas of your artwork. It can be your creatures, it can also be your background. Okay, but I don't want you to then treat everything exactly the same so that you just get an amorphous blob of gooey paint blob. Okay, and what I'm wanting you to get is to kind of create definition between your creatures and these really interesting textures that you've created in the background. So you need to be quite sensitive about where you apply the paint, and less is more. Okay, so in this situation it's not a painting, it's a mixed media artwork. So you have got the foundation of your artworks, which I think for most of you, you're pretty much almost finished. Okay, so that will take you up to a break. It's 9:15 now. So if we work until 10, 11, let's just see how we go, and I'm sure everyone will get finished at that point. Then, what I'm going to be doing when you guys are at break, I'm going to take your artworks and I'm going to select an area that I feel works really beautifully and photocopy it in the negative. So you can see here's the turtle, and you remember last year when I photocopied some of your stuff in the negative for your other artwork that you did. But what you're going to be doing with this is that I'm going to be selecting a square area, then I'm going to be giving you, plain piece of white paper. I'll trim them down square, and I need a pen as well. Okay. So you're going to be working with black pen, and a portion of your artwork that's been photocopied, and then what I'm going to be doing, I'm photocopying it in the reverse or in the negative, and then you're going to be working. You're going to glue it down with about a 5 centimeter border. Oh, that's about 5 or so. And then I'll trim that extra there. And then you're going to expand your drawing or extend it. So it's in a way you're kind of creating a border for the drawing, but you can copy the lines of the newspaper out. You can extend you can finish off bits that were cut off. Okay. So you can expand the turtle shell. And we have another leg. So yeah, that's another little one. Okay. Okay. So you can, if the section has been cut off, you can extend it, finish it off, and then you can kind of duplicate what you have in your photocopy. So if you're wanting to have a darker edge over there, with a light edge over there, and then the really nice little scaled feet sticking out. That's really perfect. And then from there, you're going to think of what patterns you have inside here and duplicate that to create a really interesting border to your artwork. All right. Should I demonstrate a bit more? Are you okay with this so far? I can go back into it a little bit later when we get there. All right? Okay. So what I want you to do now is do not put any elbows in your paint, for one. To not knock over your ink, for 2. Okay. And what you can do then is find your artwork and go take a seat and get started. Okay. Remember, guys, you can work with the foreground, the background, and with your actual creatures. Okay. But I don't want everything to be treated exactly the same way. You're using the paint to pick out detail, you're using the paint to accentuate things. Alright. Okay, what are you guys worrying about?
Ja, dit is toen altijd.
I really love it. I love the people. And the English is such a business. But these two are beautiful. I won't show your faces if you don't want me to.
Please don't.
Okay, you can hide under your hat.
Iedereen has a head.